Remember Diwali, the Hindu holiday from like 2.5 weeks ago that now we're supposed to celebrate as cultural enrichment that you can't delete from your iPhone's calendar as part of the mandatory diversity celebrations? We saw a bunch of Republicans and Democrats this year for the first time virtue signal, posting on social media. Happy Diwali, they're saying, since there are so many countless millions of Indian immigrants, non assimilating Indian immigrants that have come to our country who, instead of assimilating into American culture, now we have to cater to their culture, or the politicians are catering to their culture, playing identity politics because, well, that's one of the joys of diversity. So this YouTuber named Tyler Oliveira went over to India for the Diwali celebration in one particular village where every year they literally play in cow poop and throw cow poop at each other because in Hinduism, cows are seen as these sacred beings. And it caused a lot of outrage, and he was getting ready to release a documentary on the whole experience, not just a short clip of the cow poop throwing festival celebration of Diwali. Well, yesterday he said that he was canceling the release of the documentary after it has caused increasing outrage over in India amongst their, how many billion people do they have over there? When the outrage started, he defended it, saying it's not racist. He just thought it was fascinating to go over there and see how the locals celebrate Diwali. Again, by throwing cow dung at each other. He says after much consideration, he has decided that he will not be releasing the documentary capturing India's poop throwing festival, saying that he's been doxxed and threatened by thousands of Indians over the last 2 weeks. Tens of thousands of Indians have turned his life into a living hell. His family's been attacked in ways he never could have imagined. Showing up to the poop festival was the worst decision of his life, he says, and he severely underestimated the power of India. Now, I don't know. I'm not too familiar with this guy. I am assuming, I'm hoping that this is sarcasm. Although they did severely attack him and try to ruin his life because they are so numerous and so upset. Remember what they did to PewDiePie after PewDiePie posted a rap song video attacking T-Series years ago because PewDiePie was the #1 most subscribed YouTuber in the whole world, and then this Indian music channel, I think their MTV, was rapidly tracking to overtake him and then ultimately did overtake him. And so then India literally banned that YouTube video. They banned a rap song mocking T-Series. That's how bad their feelings got hurt. So I am just hoping that despite the obvious attacks that he's been receiving, that he is just trolling them and does release it. So many Indians started flagging his posts over on Twitter that the algorithm kicked in and started censoring them and putting them behind content warning labels. So he responded saying, X is censoring all of my posts related to Indians eating and throwing cow poop. His latest video where an Indian villager eats fresh cow poop and claims it prevents cancer has been age-restricted. India mass reporting is a legitimate problem. Of course, just Indians taking over Twitter and scamming people on Twitter, posing as MAGA patriots on Twitter, has been a huge problem. The outrage over his visit and him posting the brief video and teasing his documentary can't be overstated, with one popular Indian account so mad she posted on Twitter and tagged the YouTube CEO, who is an Indian, Neil Mohan, and Sundar Pichai, the Google CEO, the parent company, and an elected official over there in India, Ashwani Vaishnaw, who is the Minister for Railways, Information, and Broadcasting over there, and demanded that they all conspire to prevent the documentary from being released. She responded to a post from Tyler Oliveira, who said that after participating in India's poop throwing festival, he had to spend $5,000 on tests for countless diseases. He says, if you don't see the full poop documentary in the next 7 days, chances are I'm dead. I don't know anything about this guy. I don't know what his political affiliations are or anything like that. But anybody who's got the guts to travel over into a third world country and show the American people what it is that they do to celebrate the country's biggest holiday, I think deserves our respect. And for countless decades, we've heard politicians on the left and on the right cater to the different racial groups, pandering to them, hoping to win over their vote by offering them special favors and trying to virtue signal how much they care about the black community and the Latino community, the Jewish community. Not so much virtue signaling to the Asian community. You don't really hear that in elections because Asians are kind of like the model immigrants. They don't have a chip on their shoulder, most of them, hardly any of them, about past racial injustices like blacks and Latinos and Jews. And now we can add Indians to that list of the racial groups we're going to constantly hear politicians pandering to, including President Trump, who celebrated Diwali in the Oval Office this year, in case you missed my previous video, with his Indian handler there right next to him, Kash Patel, the Indian director of the FBI. Have you ever heard of Diwali until this year, or until you saw it on your calendar on your phone and just kind of ignored it? Just another pointless, worthless holiday. This marks the first time now that President Trump is now pandering, engaging in identity politics for Indians. And Sarah Huckabee Sanders was late to the pandering. She's now the governor of Arkansas. She posted these photos on social media saying it was no accident that Diwali, the festival of lights, festival of cow poop throwing. And to be fair, it's not the core of the holiday. Okay, we do a little trolling around here. But they do that in, certain areas. Happens when the days are getting short. It was an honor to host our second Diwali. See, now since there are so many countless millions of Indian immigrants in our country, now all the Republicans, as the Democrats, are having to pander to them, engage in identity politics, while Vivek Ramaswamy says the Republican Party needs to stop engaging in identity politics. But what he means is he wants white people to stop organizing and collectivizing for the interests of white people.
Cut out the identity politics. It doesn't suit Republicans. It's not for us. That's the woke left's game, not ours. We don't care about the color of your skin or your religion. We care about the content of your character. That's who we are.
I'm sorry, but I feel this is missing some cultural appropriation, or racist humor, as the snowflakes would say. It was an honor to host our second Diwali celebration at the governor's mansion today. It's a reminder that while we live in a broken world, light is always more powerful than darkness. Listen, we don't care about your Hindu holiday. We don't want it on our calendars. We don't want to hear about it. In fact, I find your accents extremely annoying. I don't like the smell of your food. I don't like the smell of you. And this is just one more reason why we should have put an end to legal immigration a long time ago. Of course, every Republican in Congress, all the political pundits rail against illegal immigration. But a serious question, have any of them ever mentioned opposition to legal immigration and talked about the disastrous cultural effects and economic effects? Because let's face it, a large portion of legal immigrants are also on welfare that us natural-born Americans have to pay for. Many Republicans now are quietly starting to realize that legal immigration has disastrous effects after the election of Zoran Mamdani in New York, when they start to realize that 37% of the people who live in New York City are foreign-born. Here's California Governor Gavin Newsom bragging that over a quarter of the people who live in California were not born in America.
Tell us what you think we should know about what's going right in California.
He laughed because nothing is going right in California.
I appreciate the context. Look, California is America, but only more so. We're the most, in the spirit of your introductory remarks.
Well, it is the state in the most debt. It is the state with the most illegal aliens. So, it is kind of a microcosm of the rest of the country now.
And just to set the scene. It's the size of 21 state populations combined. It's the most diverse state in the world's most diverse democracy. 27% of my state is foreign-born.
27%. And for over 25 years now, white people have been a minority in California. Let's not forget that California actually used to be a red state. Back in the days of Reagan, not that long ago, I guess it was that long ago, 50 years ago, in the 1980s, okay? So why did it become a purple state and then a blue state? Because of the illegal invasion of the immigrants. Because then they all had anchor babies who then are American citizens who then vote for the bureaucracy. The good news is, I guess, that a lot of white people are finally waking up and not afraid to call out anti-whiteism and to push back against the systemic and growing anti-white sentiments and talk about things like black crime and how we're just having diversity fatigue. Here is Sydney Sweeney on a podcast who was confronted about her terribly racist jean commercial, and this was her response.
The criticism of the content, which was basically that maybe specifically in this political climate, like white people shouldn't joke about genetic superiority. Like that was kind of like the criticism.
Meanwhile, Jews can claim that they're God's chosen people, and if you dare disagree with that, then they'll say that you hate them and you're supporting another Holocaust, you anti-Semite.
Broadly speaking, and since you are talking about this, I just wanted to give you an opportunity to talk about that specifically.
I think that when I have an issue that I want to speak about, people will hear.
This brief interaction gave birth to a whole new meme format, sort of like the Padme Anakin Skywalker meme, because of Sydney's just ice-cold stare of contempt at this wretched libtard attempting to try to get her to apologize for being white from her own white guilt and just spewing the libtard talking points. And speaking of memes, I'd say Trump Claus is a meme. And so I brought back the Trump Claus knit sweaters, which you should order from markdice.com or click the link in the description below. These are not printed on like a normal screen printing or printing of a design on t-shirts. These are custom orders. The yarn is dyed and it's woven into the actual sweater itself. And so these are custom order, special order. You got to get your orders in over, I think, the next 2 weeks, and then I'll get them all made up, and then they'll get shipped before Christmas. But that's why I'm launching them so early. So be sure to head on over to markdice.com or click the link in the description below and check them out.